We're Batman at 89. Hello, and welcome to Batminute 89, the podcast where we analyse Tim Burton's 1989 movie Batman, 1 minute at a time. I am Niall McGowan.
And I'm John Parker.
Just completely flip the script on everyone.
Well, to say, I wonder who would actually notice, though. Who out there is like, I thought, oh my God, I thought I've been getting them mixed up this whole time.
I'm pretty sure all two people will just be like, whatever, get on with it.
Just get on with it. Get on with it.
Well, anyway, yes, welcome to minute 15 of Batman. Yep. Yes, minute 15 of Batman. It begins with the startings of a lunch date and ends with a bundle of shopping interrupting a gangster meeting. Complete with sexy music.
Ooh, alluring. Let's see what we got. What do we got? So as you say, we get the ending of the bit of banter between Knox and Vicky Vale here, where we kind of interrupted their flow with the cut in the minutes, but we have from last week, we have last episode, sorry. What's it? Vale, will you marry me? Nope. Will you buy me lunch? Maybe. and then Knox's exiting line of "I eat light," which is the thing is, I actually quite like this bit of dialogue. I think this is actually it's a nice little back and forth. It's quite it's kind of got the kind of classic newsroom. The reporters, the really gutsy reporters working together, firing things back and forth. It has that kind of vibe to it. So I'm like, this
banter.
This banter, this works. Like, I think this is it works a lot better than last week's the whole I like bets, like all that nonsense. So
oh God, no! Don't remind me. This is much better. I agree. It gives them a bit of personality as well.
It was slightly changed as well, though, from the original script.
Yes,
which is just slight variations of on the dialogue, but yet originally it was supposed to be will you at least it was Vicky, baby, I love you. I've always loved you. Will you marry me? Nope. Well, I'm starving. Will you at least buy me a hamburger? Yes, but please be gentle.
What?
Yeah, it's a bit more sexualized, I think. Maybe they were
I thought it was going to be but please no pickle or something. Or be like.
Well, even that would be kind of sexual as well.
Dirty dog. I wasn't thinking of that.
It's like, oh, you were setting it up, John. You were setting it up.
And you hit it out of the park.
But then after this little back and forth, we get a sudden jolt of music, and the camera zooms up a tall building.
Insanely tall. Huge.
But I like the added detail as well, that it's because presumably this is a model that we're looking at, that they're zooming up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a model. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's clearly a model.
Yeah, but even at that though, I did like that they had the little detail of the kind of steam rising up to make it look, realistic, at least a little bit. So,
well, what shot in this movie doesn't have steam in it? Every outdoor shot so far, steam.
Certainly it's a steamy movie.
Oh yeah, getting hot under the collar.
Yeah, well, that maybe it was supposed to be a steamier movie, but then we better cut that.
Thank God.
I think the music's quite it's quite a jolt as well. I think it reminded me of in Return of the Jedi, when they have you have the whole scene of Luke and Obi-Wan. And the revelation that Leia is Luke's sister and all this, and it's kind of a subdued scene, and then it cuts to like the rebel meeting, and it's just got this real like the music just hits you like a
I love that change. Yeah.
But this is kind of it's almost as if they're like, well, people might have been a bit bored by that Vicky Vale Knox thing. We better give them a jolt, so it's just like boom,
wake up.
It's like the action is starting again right now. Well, kind of, but almost, yes.
Well, sort of, as you say, because as we get to the top of this building, we see just a meeting, a business meeting, if you will.
It's got a dynamic opening, at least. So it has the, we get our introduction to boss Carl Grissom and Jack Palance, the first time we've seen him on screen in the film. But before that, we have his opening line, which you don't see him before, but of the "say this, son of a bitch," when he punches his desk as he looks on at a newspaper bearing Harvey Dent going on about cracking down on gangland bosses and whatnot of Gotham.
Remember newspapers?
Yeah, nope.
Back in the old days, yeah.
But again, another very good photo of Billy D. The man can't take a bad photo, to be fair, but
he is one photogenic guy.
And it's almost as if that's why he's punching it. It's like, oh, he's so damn handsome as well.
Well, something I like from the earlier drafts, like the original draft of this, is you don't have Grissom. You've got a guy from the comics, Rupert Thorne, haven't you?
Yeah,
I think we might have mentioned that before.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was on mic or off mic, but because I was reading into that because I mean I do actually have that comic here, but I haven't read it in a long time. So I was flicking through, and he sends Joe Chill to murder Thomas Wayne, who ran against Thorne for city council. So I thought that was quite an interesting little story.
Yeah, well, this was a thing. I was going to mention as well, because that's in the original Tom Mankiewicz script. They have that element, but it's also something even more sort of like, what the hell is that? Thorne actually, he has a middleman to get to Joe Chill in the Joker, and not Jack Napier, but in that script, it's like it opens in 1960. Joe Chill, kills Thomas and Martha Wayne, but it's the Joker who's hired him. And it's the beginning of the most contentious thing that's in this film. Like, that idea it has its origin in that, I guess. But
that must be what gave them the idea, yeah.
Oh yeah, it seems to be a thing.
But we're not there yet, though.
No, not at all. No. But anyway, we get back to the minute at hand. One thing I did note that I think I mentioned I was going to bring this up in a previous minute, and now I think is the time. You remember when Knox came into the newsroom and all the other reporters were mocking him, saying, "Oh, they buried your story on the bad Knox," and it kind of made him seem like he was a real loser around the office. Yeah, you'll notice this front page news story on Harvey Dent is written by Alexander Knox. So
yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, it's obviously like he seems to be like their top guy. So.
Yeah, that blew my mind because I was just thinking, hang on a minute. They all think he's a jerk. Like, oh, he picks the stupid stories, the fantasy stories. He's just after the bat.
Yeah.
But clearly he's a good writer. He's on the damn front page.
Yeah, the vibe they got before was that he was like, almost like, like season 1 Fox Mulder. Like, he's just like, oh, Knox is just, he goes on about the Batman or something. It's been shoved off to the corner. No one wants to talk to him. And then him meeting up with Vicky Vale is kind of like, this is a bit like Mulder and Scully, I guess, kind of. But,
oh my God, now I want to see an X-Files episode where they have to investigate Batman because they've been told it's a demon. And they investigate, and it's just a guy at the end of the day.
That actually legitimately would be great. Like if they, I think I do like even like just like a comic book or something of it. So they're like, oh, that'd be fantastic.
Well, I think you'd get away with it now. I mean, because that last season of the X-Files they did recently, you had that comedy episode with Rhys Darby in it, so it's no stupider than that one.
but yeah, it's this whole business of. It seems like that was just a detail, like they didn't bother to think of, like, oh, maybe we should put another guy's name on this, because now it just makes it seem as if, like, Knox is the only reporter for the Gotham Globe.
Maybe that's the problem, yeah. Maybe all those other guys aren't reporters. They're just, like, admins and, like, clerks and things. He's the only guy.
But, and I think it would be a prime opportunity, like, if they did this today, you know that they would have in like a little Easter egg, and it would have been like, oh, it's written by Jack Ryder or one of the other reporters that's in the comics or something like that. But
That would have been a good moment for it, yeah.
yeah. But this seems to be very much like, nope. And again, you can see the potential. That was a thing like they originally kind of wanted to do in the original script. Again, in this moment, it has, we have Jack Palance fantastically delivering this line of like, makes a connection with us and Axis Chemicals. It's a dynamic way of saying these words, but
it's great. Although at the moment, of course, I mean that's why he's annoyed with Dent, because he's made the connection between the gangsters and Axis Chemicals. But we don't know why that's a bad thing yet. Really,
yeah,
because we don't know what Axis Chemicals is or does.
But in the original draft of the script, though, we have he mentions like, this would then tie us to Councilman Kane and Senator Miller, which is obviously a nod to Bob Kane and Frank Miller. And that's like that little playful kind of like, here's a, like, much like previously in the original draft, they had a reference to Clark Kent and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So, but it seems as if Tim Burton was very much like, no, just get all that out. Like I'm not having any of that in my film. So.
None of that nonsense.
I
don't know why that's the voice I was doing. That's not Tim Burton.
Well, maybe that is. Maybe like the whole like, I'm just, yes, it's me, Tim. It's like, no, that's not actually what he sounds like. He's actually
Get
like
out.
It's like, I don't want any comics in my comic book movie.
Well, speaking though of Axis Chemicals, I mean we've talked about this off mic before, but obviously in the comics and stuff, it's a different name, isn't it? It's not Axis Chemicals.
It's a very like the Axis Chemicals and its counterpart in the comics, Ace Chemicals, are they're very intrinsically linked to a lot, the origin of the Joker. Spoiler, but yeah, it does.
No.
It's always a thing that pops up, like in Arkham City and Arkham Knight. You can go to Ace Chemicals, and as a whole, it's made its mark. It's been a very big, important thing. And then
they should make a joke out of it though, and have another one called Axis Chemicals, the rival.
Yeah. Although again, it's one of those things of like, we've established here already that like, well, they originally had in the Mankiewicz script, Grissom was Rupert Thorne, and then in that same script, or not in that same script, one of the other drafts as well, I believe it's actually referred to in the script as Ace Chemicals. So it seems they've made some decision here to be like, nah, let's just take that, like make him, it's, Son of Thorne, like a very well-established comic book character, make it Grissom, who like I can't find anything else on a Carl Grissom, but I did see one video from a YouTuber called K-Wing, who does a lot of Batman lore, and he apparently says that Grissom it's the name of a small-time gangster in like the 1940s comics, but I can't find any other evidence to back that up. I don't know where he got that from, but
I could find very, very little when I was looking into it. Although, one thing I did discover, though you may know this, being a huge fan of the animated series, was that in the animated series, a couple of times they do call it Axis Chemicals.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I think because the animated series was, despite the fact that like there'd be no real kind of continuity, but like I think they were trying to link it with like, this is the cartoon spin-off from the films, even though. In this film, spoiler, the Joker dies, and he's in that show loads. Again, even the end of the second one, the Penguin dies, and he's in that cartoon loads as well, and he's nothing like the Penguin in the film.
And now you've spoilt the next damn movie. There's no point in doing the minutes now.
But it's I think they it might have been just like, just to link it in, just to be kind of, because I think in the animated series as well, there is a reference to the Joker being Jack Napier as well, which is a thing like you wouldn't do that now. Like that's like, no, Joker's, you don't know who he is. That's the whole Jack Napier thing is a complete new creation for this this film, basically.
And it works in this film, but I do prefer the mysterious origins. That's why I like Heath Ledger when he just gives different origins every time.
Oh yeah, that's great. But I mean, yeah, but I can imagine at the time, there probably are people who are still sore about this. Like, well, since he's a gangster, what the hell is all this about?
It is a bit strange.
But anyway, should we get back to the actual minute, I suppose?
Yeah. Well, just one little thing I noticed here in the background. I love the very cheesy, generic goons who are standing there.
Oh yeah, it's proper, just like goons, hard goons.
Yeah, you need goons for your scene. Get these guys in. Maybe this is what they do for a living, like the actors. We're just goons.
The thing is, if you go through the IMDb, there is about 50 people there just credited as goon. So, and then the only one who gets any more credit is Bob the Goon. And he's even got the Goon in his name, but he's the only one who had a name. So,
well, no one will forget him. No one will forget him.
I know he certainly stole my heart, but
well, I like as well. You get a nice little tease. When Grissom says, if he ties us with Ace Chemicals, we're dead and buried.
Oh, well...
sorry, Axis Chemicals. I've just... Because, what the hell are Axis up to? Obviously, we know. But, if you're watching it minute by minute, you'd be like, oh, they're up to no good.
That's one note I do have, is that it's not Grissom who says that line. It's...
Oh, sorry, yeah. You are right.
Yeah, it's another guy. I've tried to figure out who this guy is, and I think I have. Because there's there's an actor whose IMDb stood out to me for a peculiar reason. And John Sterland is credited as accountant. And I'm assuming, I can't think of any other accountants who might be in this film. And it seems because he's sitting there with a briefcase and they're talking business. So it makes sense that he is Grissom's accountant. And they're talking about, links. John Sterland, he stood out to me in that, have you ever seen Performance? The Nick Rogue, Mick Jagger film.
Oh yeah, I know the one.
Yeah, and but there's a it's been years since I've seen that film, but there's one bit I remember of these a gang of toughs working for a gangster are trying to intimidate a lawyer, and they go up and they get his chauffeur in his private house. And there's a scene where they tie him up and they tape over his mouth and stuff, and then they pour acid on the car, and then they shave the chauffeur's head. But not in an electric clippers way. It's a proper shaving foam and a straight razor getting as real close into his face.
Well, they want to get the job done,
Yeah. And John Sterland, not only is he that chauffeur, that's his IMDb picture. Is him getting the head shaved. It's the most unflattering picture of anyone ever.
So he's clearly had a lot of top roles.
Yeah. Oh, the most disappointing thing is he's like, oh, he's a British actor. I'm going to go through this. And I was like, what? When was he in Doctor Who? He's not in Doctor Who. What's going on?
What?
I wonder
it's the law.
Yeah. I'm like, what else was he doing? He did a lot of stuff, to be fair. But at the same time, that's a rite of passage. If you were a working actor in the 70s, you had to be in Doctor Who at some point. Come on.
Who did he annoy to not get called up for that,
Yeah, maybe it's still got beef with them. Or maybe they were constantly phoning him. He's like, "Do you know who I am? I'm I got my head shaved for Performance, for Christ's sake."
Hey, he's dedicated. You should get the Doctor Who part. He could be the new Who. Is he alive? I don't know.
I think he is still alive, but
I think so.
He's pretty old in '89, so. But to be fair, at the minute they've gone for an old doctor, but
too old,
too old to be. I'm thinking, that as of recording, there's no announcement as to who the next person is going to be. But I think there is a lot of we tried with the old guy. People like the young, sexy doctor. So
I did the old guy's better, but to me. But the new Who may just be someone hosting this show right now.
You know something we don't, John?
Well, wait and see. Saying nothing else.
But anyway, then we pan out and we get looking into the rest of Grissom's office with its various knickknacks. He's got a very, very nice desk. It's a fine wooden desk right there. It's like something in the Great Northern Hotel. It's just so.
Oh yeah.
And then he's got various busts You see a bust of, I'm presuming it's, like, it could be, is it John T. Gotham's head? Is it Grissom's head? We never really get a good look at it, and I can't find anything online about the decor of this guy's office. So,
I mean, on what? Yeah, I could go with Grissom having a head of himself, maybe.
yeah. I mean, that could, well, to make a bust of your own head and have it in your office, like, that's an egotistical move right there.
I don't know. I'm getting inspired. I might do that at work. That'd be great. I just put a bust of myself on the desk.
It's like instead of a name tag, you've just got a bust.
That's a cracking idea.
I guess it probably wasn't intentional, but was it in the old 66 TV show? They used to have a bust, wasn't it? They'd take up the head of the bust and press the button.
Yeah,
so maybe it was a reference to that, but it's unlikely.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I've interrupted. Are you finished with the knickknacks? I'll cut this bit out.
But yeah, like, well, no, that's pretty much it for like the bust was the one that stood out to me. But that's a big head, like that's a head, and outside his window, we also get see it later on. It's two big giant heads. So
incoming message from the big giant head.
I was trying to you're like, how am I going to be able to work in that joke somewhere? So there's like a lot of heads going on in the Grissom office. But then we also see back up to his old tricks with his feet up on the table again, like a dick. Jack Napier.
Yeah, and yet again he's playing with cards, which it's kind of, I would say foreshadowing, but it's so on the nose. I don't know if you could call it that, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. It's great. I love on the nose foreshadowing.
Yeah. But again, beyond that, he's wearing a very distinctively flamboyant purple suit.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a bit like, well, we know a guy in the comics who wears a purple suit.
Well, and in a minute as well, not in a minute, in a few milliseconds, I'll jump ahead slightly. Of course, when you see him lift the card he's playing with, it's a Joker.
Yeah, that's. But before we get to that, there's one thing I do want to mention as well. Not to dump on anybody, but there's an extra across from Jack Nicholson, who is just terrible. Like he is just a guy. It was like literally they've clearly just put a suit on him, sit there, and don't do anything. And he doesn't look like he's supposed to be there. He's a man who's just like, what am I supposed to? I don't. Should I just look at Jack?
Probably one of the crew.
But it seems because he doesn't even need to be there. So like, just get him out of there.
Just padding the scene out.
At least the hovering goons look like goons. They look like they're standing intimidatingly. That's a word, isn't it?
It is now. Well, there we go. Yeah. It's an official new word. Well, I love. Here we got Jack's plan is to burst in, trash the place, and steal all the documents. Industrial espionage.
Yeah.
Grissom loves this idea, and he stands in a very disturbing way. I'm unsettled. His legs very wide.
It's a hell of a stance. Like it's a
it's a bold stance.
It's a man who's like, that's a stage actor. Like, I am letting my presence be known. Stance. Like I am like the legs are apart. He's just dominating that screen basically.
Maybe this is where I'm going wrong in life. I need to adopt this kind of stance in my regular life.
Yeah, couldn't hurt. Could not hurt. But then we got another great delivery from the other Jack Palance. It's just the way he speaks in this film is just in general.
Yeah, you can tell he's a proper actor.
Oh yeah, but it's just the what's it he says is like, oh Jack, that's exactly the way to go. In fact, and it's just like what?
That was a good impression. Huh? You can do all the Jack Palance stuff from now on.
I've been working on it. Like it's but yeah, hell of a stance. Again, I'll also notice before we get to this because I think it ties in at Jack Nicholson's or Jack Napier. Too many Jacks. Too many Jacks.
Jacks all over the damn place.
It's like, why are there so many Jacks?
What is the deal with all the Jacks?
What's the deal with guys called Jack when there's three of them and one of them is the same guy? But at his feet, we see a chessboard. And then this now, what Grissom's about to suggest, is the beginning of a tactical move to get things in motion as a sort of chess game between him and Jack Napier himself. He's about to move for a checkmate because he suggests that Jack should be the one to head up this operation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you get some nice music as he says it as well. It's very ominous sounding.
I will say, though, it does come across as a bit like the writers don't really know what they're just going for, like generic gangstery kind of thing. It's like, oh, it's a front company and there's documents and they need to get, like, and Chris Nolan, he would have thought out exactly how the mob is tied into Axis Chemicals and what exactly they're using it for, and you would have got a bit of detail. But this is just like, front company and
yeah, but do you want that? You don't want too much information. We don't want the Phantom Menace on our hands here with
no, of course.
All in-depth business discussions, just replacing the Phantom Menace's political ones.
But that's all fair enough. But it's just a bit obvious that it's like it's just a generic they need to go in.
Get it? Yeah.
Needs to go in and get papers or something.
It's good enough, isn't it? Yeah. But there's clearly something up, as you say.
Yeah, and it gets we got Jack's great. Yeah, the music goes that little boom, and he has me, and then he does he flips over the card, and we get the most in your face foreshadowing imaginable, and that he's looking at that minute at a Joker card. It's like I also love, as that's happening, they utilize the sound effect in a very good way of the elevator coming up, because it has this screeching to a halt, but it gives it a sense of sort of off-kilterness. So he's looking at the Joker card, and you get this kind of like kind of sound. It's a bit creepy. It's like, that's well done. That actually, I like that.
Oh yeah, it was very creepy, very creepy. Well, then of course as well, through the card, there's a hole. You say burnt into it? It looks like maybe a cigarette burn or something. And through the hole, you can see Alicia. She's back.
In the film, it looks to me like it's just like a gray sticker they put on, like a little gray, like it doesn't look like a hole. It specifies in the script that like it's a bullet hole. So it's like, what's he been up to?
Bullet hole, okay.
Yeah, it's like, what's he been up to that he's been shot at some point and it's gone through the Joker card. It is very well done in that. What happens where that hole is and the Joker's face is later on in the film when the bullet ricochets hitting Jack Napier. But it's the same spot, isn't it? It's like the same area on his face, so it's well done.
You know what though? I mean, I'd read obviously for this the script, and I hadn't put two and two together that it was a bullet hole. I mean, I did see that, and then I sort of glazed over.
Yeah.
I mean, why are these cards his lucky deck? I mean,
it's lucky deck.
I'm going to assume he had them maybe in his breast pocket when he got shot one time, and they saved his life, a bit like the old cigarillo case.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, the Joker was on top.
So it would have been better had it not looked like a little gray sticker, and you knew that it was a bullet hole. But that makes perfect sense to me. I will go in terms of headcanon. I'm willing to accept that. That is
legit canon now. We're making the canon as we go. We're the new canon. Damn it!
We're making the canon. We make it up as we go.
Well, I like as well. You've got obviously, as I said, you can see Alicia through the card. So I don't know whether this is intentional, but I got the vibe like, he's got her in his sights.
Yeah,
kind of. He's going for her.
Okay, we get a bit more of Grissom's office here, though. Like he's decorated up the yin yang. This guy, like, it's massive mural painted on his wall and stuff.
Hey, if I was rich, I'd do that.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's a bit like it's like the polar opposite. Like maybe in the 80s, that's what you did. This weekend, as the weekend of recording, is the weekend of the opening of Alien Covenant, and and you see at the beginning of that the Wayland. Don't know if it's his office. This isn't a spoiler, by the way. It's the first scene in the film. But yeah, he's in this big, like, very minimalist, like, sleek white room that just has a big window. And there's, like, one piano and one chair with a table with tea on it. And it's like, that's what you do when you're rich. You just have huge rooms, nothing in them.
Basically, yeah, because you've got 1,000 rooms. That's why.
So, but Grissom has gone the other way. He's like, nope, let's just get the walls painted, getting busts everywhere, just the giant wooden desks, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, then we get Alicia re-enters the film.
Yeah, with arms full of shopping.
The inference here is that she may be like she's a kept woman, and we get Grissom saying, "Oh, would you mind waiting in the next room, darling?" So it's obviously we know already this is his girlfriend, and presumably she's just spent her day shopping with his dirty money, basically.
Yeah, it says a lot about her character. I mean, I say that a lot. That's my catchphrase now, I think. But it does because obviously, as you say, she's a kept woman, and she goes out shopping, which might be like I say stereotypical, but I think she's maybe doing it because she literally has nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, most likely, yeah.
She's with Grissom. She doesn't need to work, so it's like, well, screw it. I'm going shopping.
Yeah.
Although that line he says that you just mentioned, ushering her out of the room, it reminds me of a line in James Bond. I can't remember which Bond. It's a Connery one, where he's going to talk to someone and he slaps the woman he's with on the arse and says, "Run along now, man talk." So, ooh, that's bad. You wouldn't get away with that now.
Yeah, it's the Bond films. Many of them have not aged well.
No.
I think it is one of those things for such a huge franchise that there's like people are gonna have to just admit that like James Bond himself is a rampant misogynist. Like it's just that is the character. Like that's integral to him as well. It's like no, he's a man who just burns through women. He doesn't care about it.
Well, I quite like the way they dealt with that in GoldenEye though. When speaking contemporary, there, GoldenEye, yes, that modern Bond movie.
Oh yeah, the new Bond, the one that just came out.
Yeah, recently. Because they did sort of deal with that where Bond was being a bit misogynist and annoying, and Judi Dench put him in his place.
Oh yeah. But anyway, back to James Bond minute.
Yes, that is coming soon, apparently.
Yeah. So well, shout out to whoever those guys are. The Bond minute, fellas. But yeah, and I think this is pretty much the end of the minute now. I will say again for Jerry Hall, we get this sort of sickly grimace of a smile as she comes in. And it could be like she's either Jerry Hall is a bad actress and that's all she could do, or it could be that she's a great actress and that's an intentionally kind of forced like, oh, hi.
Well, that's the vibe I got, to be honest. Maybe I'm giving her too much credit, but yeah, I thought it was for the character, not the actress.
Yeah, to be fair, then this is us now kind of splashing over into the next minute, but she does give Jack Napier a bit more of a kind of sultry like side eye of like, hey, and then Grissom picks up on that. So it's like, I think that this could be like the best bit of Jerry Hall's acting in the whole movie, like really. But
it's definitely up there, yeah. In this one like a 2-second or whatever it is burst.
It's like she can't deliver dialogue for anything, but she can give you 2 different kinds of hello faces, basically. It's like hello faces. I say hello.
Well, I was going to ask you what the hell you were saying, but I thought I'll roll with it. Maybe it's an Irish thing.
But yeah, that's all I've got for this minute.
Yeah, that's everything I've got. We've hit the end of my notes, my extensive, exhaustive notes. I'm known for my in-depth notes.
Should we wrap up this minute?
Let's do it. Let's move on. Let's head out of here.
Yep.
Let people get on with their day.
Yep, for sure. So,
well, yes, make sure to chat to us online. You can send us a message on Facebook at the Batminute 89 Listeners Society, or we're also on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. They're all exactly the same as well. They're all Batminute 89, or at Batminute 89 if you're old-fashioned like me and do the full Twitter thing. And make sure to check us out on iTunes, do a review. And join us again for the next episode of Bat Minute 89, where we'll be discussing Minute 16.
Next time, duplicitous dealings. As the wily Napier tries to weasel his way out of his worrying work, Grissom comforts the callous crook. But does the old man really have a hot chip on his shoulder? Join us next time. Same Bat Pod.
Different Bat Minute.